Season 1, Episode 2 of the STR Street Talk Show. My name is Mark Smith, and welcome along. If you're loving this show, make sure you hit subscribe and like, or even smash that notification bell so that you never miss an episode.
Season 1, Episode 4 of the STR Street Talk Show. We've got the whole crew and a few extras here today. We've got Felicity and Kat.
Hi everyone, this is Aslan. She's decided to come and join everyone. We've got a great topic that we think you're going to enjoy.
Jeff's all alone.
She's doing the STR.
Always alone.
Cheer us up, Meredith.
Oh, how?
Tasmania.
I've got Tyson here with me, but he's just wandered off for a minute. So we're going to talk about pet-friendly and child-friendly. I think that's a great topic for today.
And spare a thought for poor Sue up there shivering in the cold up in the Sunshine Coast.
I know, right? Yeah. That's starting a fire.
Meredith, tell us.
My two rabbits are barking at nothing.
So if we're going to start with pet-friendly, let's give it to Sue because she's the pet-friendly queen, and we'll give her. She can outline the topic for us, and then maybe we can chime in a bit later.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Sue.
Pet friendly is huge. It's kind of like a rabbit hole you can go down. And honestly, my best advice is honestly just keep trying to get really into pet friendly. My properties, I've got a lot of properties that are branded just for pets, and I don't generally take guests that aren't bringing pets. You've just got to be careful market a pet friendly and how you name a pet friendly and how you work with a pet friendly, because you can discourage normal, what I would call a muggle. You can discourage a muggle from booking because they'll takes pets, that's gross, it's got hair everywhere. And you do have to come across people with allergies and things like that, or won't. Look, my properties are really, really lovely. Walking there with pets and go, oh my God, I've never stayed in anything this nice that takes pets, because generally pet friendly aren't very good quality. So mine are. So there's just things like that. So you just got to be careful when you're targeting pets in specifically. Or another big obstacle that you come with some of the larger family homes I've done, we may allow pets on it. And if they bring a pet, really charge that pet fee and make that pet free something similar to what it would cost to have them go to a boarding kennel even. We found with some of the large family friendly homes, people would bring pets purely and simply because it was cheaper than going to a kennel, and we allowed them. If you charge the pet fee, we found that the better quality dogs came because they were used to travel. It's a rabbit hole I could go down for hours.
Let's start at the beginning. Why would you decide to be pet friendly as opposed to being non-friendly? And sorry, do you want to? I was going to ask about some fees as well. And keep in mind, this program's probably targeted at those that are setting up or thinking about joining Airbnb. What were you thinking, Felicity?
So I'm really interested to hear about the pet-friendly fees. How much does it cost to put a dog into a kennel or to board? So what sort of fees do you charge, and do you charge them daily or do you charge them as a lump fee?
Unfortunately, Airbnb is only whereas VRBO, you can do it daily per stay. So you're looking at least $40, $50. Having someone come to a house will be about $35 to come to the house to feed an animal. And we did find that once we started charging a pet fee, the guests' behaviour became so much better, because if it was going to be equivalent to leaving them at home and having the next door neighbour's kid feed them, then they left them at home. So we attracted a completely different type of guests. Guests that I have with my dogs travel all the time and they won't go anywhere without their dog. That's just the way they are. So yeah, pet fees became very, very interesting once they were introduced on there.
Do you reckon we can charge a child fee?
Oh, I would.
You can't charge a child fee under 2.
Look, I suppose I've gone back and forth over the years with being pet friendly, not pet friendly. there is no doubt that if you
Mm.
tick that pet-friendly box, it has resulted in an increase in bookings. The problem that I find is, and this is not all pet-friendly people, but some just take the mickey, really, like bringing 4 Alsatians. That's not acceptable in my world. Bringing your Scorgi poo or your Snoodle or anything like that is acceptable. But when you bring, 4 and 5 animals, that's just ridiculous.
In addition,
And I
you
think
have a house rule, don't you, Jeff?
Yeah.
the trouble is they ignore it, and by the time they're in residence, what do?
You need to be
Mm.
careful too, because Airbnb default, if you tick pet friendly, Airbnb default pets
Correct.
as your limit.
Correct. So you
Exactly.
actually have to go back
Go
in
and change that.
and limit the number of pets that you allow.
Mm.
The other problem I have is, and no offense, Felicity, to kitty cat, cats are just the worst. Who would bring their cat on holiday with them? Cat hair everywhere.
I am not taking my cat on holiday. She goes on her own holiday, and I would not subject any other host to it. But I'm curious, Sue. I am not pet friendly, and I dipped my toe in the water a few years ago during COVID when we were all scrambling to get bookings to keep ourselves going. And I took a guest who bought a dog, and it ended up being a bit of a disaster. Maybe not a disaster, but it ended up with a lot of extra cleaning. I had dog hair all over the bottom of the long curtains, and I had this smell that was just lingering, and it took me, a week to get over it. I mean, the guest was staying for a month, so the dog was in and out, I guess, a little bit. Do you have any tips for people who bring dogs to properties and how owners can make sure that the homes don't then smell of dog when the next owner arrives?
See, that's exactly with my property. A lot of people think that like dogs, and it sounds like dogs stay there, and that's all that happens. Never ever have. I don't have carpet in my properties. They're all vinyl plank. We do have rugs, and the rugs were just actually vacuumed and cleaned and like shampooed. We do that relatively regularly. We also a neutralizing spray. It's a foam neutralizing spray, and that goes on all the soft furnishings and the rugs, because we do have rugs in the lounge rooms and things like that. And if we have to swap those out, but yeah, everyone's perception of a pet friendly one is that it will smell, but there are things that you can do. We also air everything out. We leave fans going. Days if we've got guests checking in that day, and we do have a lot of turnovers, all the windows are open, the sea breezes are going through. So we're really particular about what we have where with the property.
So okay, you've got Rex there, and he stinks. Is that something you've ever charged or made an air cover claim for? Additional cleaning?
No, never. No, and I've actually hosted cats as well. Just ask more questions.
I guess if you're set up for it.
People that travel with, you'll find that people with travel.
Well, is it reasonable?
You'll know more about your dogs than you do about the guests coming.
Yeah.
in.
Do you think?
So you're set up for it. So that means that you're ready to handle any of the things that crop up.
Yeah, the cleaners have all sorts of shit in their kit. Yep.
I certainly think properties without carpet are much more suitable to pet friendly.
Oh.
When you're in the room.
Another trick is if you've got a 2-story carpet and everything in the bedrooms upstairs, you have a baby gate across the downstairs area to the stairs, and no dogs permitted upstairs.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and no dogs on the bed either.
They'll go on the bed.
So what other things are more important in this area? Felicity.
So I was just going to ask you, you sound like you've completely nailed this pet friendly listing, and to me you sound like the guru of this. I don't have a dog, so if I wanted to attract, well, not me personally, but if there was a guest out there listening, a host out there listening who wanted to attract guests who want to bring a dog, are there any basic fundamental things that you would say, maybe think about adding these to your listing? Maybe is it pet blankets, or do people bring their own pet beds or food bowl?
Yeah, they do. They do. We have them. We have them as a standard thing. Look, and firstly, if you're not a dog person, don't host dogs. Typically don't do it well. And I've had students in the States that have said to me, they only want to do it for the money. If you're doing it for the money, you really shouldn't do it. You really won't attract the right type. There's, like I said, this is a subject I could talk about for hours. You speak a certain language when you're a dog person, like kind of dog people like we are. We weren't able to have children. So dogs are our family, dogs are our kids. And that's the type of people that we deal with. Fur babies, you refer to them as fur babies. You're not bringing your dog. Dogs are family. They are their children. Right? Will go on the beds. Dogs will go on the furniture. I can guarantee you that. So if you don't want dogs on beds or dogs on furniture, don't host dogs like I do. All right.
I think that's pretty good.
And I know everyone's going to be horrified and freak out at that. It doesn't bother us because those guests will bring their own. Because we say very, very clearly, you sleep with your dog. Dogs are tuned to this. We just request that you bring your own linen as a courtesy to the future guests and our cleaners that will have to bring their own linen. They honestly do. Most in a crate, and you'll know they'll go, hey, I'm bringing Fluffy, Pooh Bar, or whatever their name is. They're going to be sleeping in their crate, and they're this, and they will explain. I know more about their breed, what they do, than the humans coming. And then every so often you go, oh, I'm bringing my husband too. But I don't know much about the husband. I know about the dogs. So blankets, beds, bowls, leads, all those kind of things in a special dog cupboard. Like the humans have their things. We have a little dog cupboard and it's got all the spare bowls because we've gone away sometimes, forgotten food bowls. Travel with fur babies. They travel with everything. I know when we go away anywhere, it's like half a bloody Land Cruiser full of stuff. So yeah, bowls. We leave a gift for the dogs. It's completely different. It's a like I said, it's a rabbit hole you could go down all day.
So it's a big topic. Mark,
it's a huge topic.
And the yard cleanup. What do you put on your exit instructions?
Yeah. Do the day of checkout message that will go to them. Look, most of them are so responsible. I think in the 9 years I've been hosting pets, I have these that are specifically pets and pets only. Really, don't bring just normal humans. I think I've had 2 where the cleaners have said they didn't do the yard. People, dogs like we do, that's just their routine. You see your dog go to the toilet, you pick it up, or you do poo patrol morning and afternoons. We're just those types of people. Come back. If you're supplying a really lovely pet-friendly property, this is why 70% of my guests are return guests. They want to come back to my place because it's nice. So they're not going to leave poos in the yard. So we call it a puppy surprise.
But do you have,
on the last day,
a message to those guests of what they have to do on checkout?
Yeah, absolutely, just like anything else. And so I actually do it on the last day as well. So we have the checkout expectation message the day before checkout. Then the day of checkout, we go, thanks. Hope you had a lovely stay. Just a gentle reminder, if you could just quickly check the yard for puppy surprises. We ourselves have known that, in the busyness of packing and getting everything into the car, you could final sweep of the yard. If you could do that to be fantastic, travel safe. Because that's the only time I know of one that really forgot to do the yard on time, and they'll never return. And my cleaners do a check of the yard too. It's not their job to clean up, but yeah.
Down below, we've got links to each of us, and we'll also put in the notes some links to Sue's tips on the exit tips. So we'll give you some samples, some sample templates of what to do if you're considering hosting, and how to tee your guests up to do the right thing as they're exiting. I know, Felicity, you want to say something, but I'm looking at Jeff and he's itching to talk about those two-legged fur babies and what to do with kiddie-friendly properties.
No, I'm not.
I know one big tip: don't supply crayons, pencils. I've done a lot of family friendlies as well, and I had a friend setting up, and she goes, "Oh, I've just been down to the shop and I've grabbed some colouring in books and this. You sell a magic eraser while you were there." She goes, "What?" I said, "Well, you do know that the crayons are going to end up on your walls. It's a big blank canvas, you know, there." Oh, I said, "No colouring inputs, no textures, no pencils, no." You know what? Nah. But definitely like toy boxes, games, books. Like, I found it in an op shop. You would have loved it, Felicity. Freaked out. One of those little Fisher Price doll houses that folds up into itself, a little plastic one. $3. That's dogs, furniture, everything all folded up. Kids would play with that for hours because it's new. If it's not there, it's
Felicity.
Yeah, well, I agree. I love. We've set our place up to be kid friendly. That is one of our hosting avatars. We're a family of 4, couple of what were little kids, but they've grown up a bit now. And so we set our place up to be family friendly, and we have a lot of families that come back and stay. But the other thing that we also have is we have a lot of guests who come and stay with us who are grandparents who are visiting families in the area. And they love having our place set up that is family friendly because it means they can have that live like a local experience where they can pick their grandkids up from school or preschool and bring them home, and they can feed them using the plastic cutlery and crockery, and they can get the toys out and read them a story, and they love it. So we have a lot of happy families who come to stay. The other thing that we leave out are buckets and spades. We live quite close to the beach, and so we always leave out buckets and spades. And, you know, the grandparents love it. They pick up the kids and go down. It's one less thing they've got to think about, and that's pretty popular.
Self-interest. We love the money as hosts. Talk about if you're kid friendly or pet. Well, I think we've done pet friendly, but if you're kid friendly, can you expect either more bookings or more money or a bit of both?
No.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically, no. I mean, it's you know, it depends on how you set your place up, doesn't it? I mean, if you're renting, if a guest is booking your place, they're booking your place, and there's a few things to remember here. Firstly, Airbnb does not consider children under the age of 2 to be guests. So don't be surprised when somebody rocks up for your 3-bedroom property having marked off 6 guests and they've got 6 guests and 2 babies. Babies are not included in the guest count. You know, we do have high chairs, porta cots, you know, plastic cups, saucers, knives, forks. But we ask the guests to actually bring their own linen for the porta cots. Now, that sounds a bit odd, but I just go back to when my wife and I used to travel with the kids when they're small. No parent of a newborn cares about having to bring their own sheets and blankets. In fact, most of the time they prefer it because they know it's clean. Not that our linen's not clean. Ours goes out to commercial laundry, but, you know, parents are always suspect of somebody else's linen for newborns. I had seen, you know, a large property that can cater for a family also caters for a group. So really, the only thing that possibly attracts more guests is you being able to tick in your amenities that you have high chairs and porta cots. Because that's just 2 less things that somebody has to put in the car and bring with them.
Meredith.
It's more an occupancy than a money per guest thing. It's an occupancy thing. They'll have saying, great, we'll take that one because it's got porta cots, high chairs, blah, blah, blah.
I think it's very similar to being pet friendly, being child friendly. If you love having kids around your house and you're used to having it, you're going to be prepared for it. So, you know, I think having all those things that kids love, and I sort of disagree a bit about the paper and pencils. I do have paper and pencils. I wouldn't have crayons, but I've never had any problems with that. But anybody who's child friendly, you know, when the kids have been, you're going to have extra cleaning. So you do need to be aware of that, because like Jeff said, under 2, and they're the toddlers that touch everything, you don't get any extra money, but you're going to have extra cleaning for them. So you need to be prepared for that. But you know, it will bring you more bookings, because a lot of people have children, and like they have fur babies, they have their real babies. So that's pretty important to think about. Mark.
I'm pleased to hear you say that, and Jeff was quite definitive with his no, that you don't get extra bookings or extra money. I think you're absolutely 1,000,000% wrong there, Jeff. But that's just my own personal opinion. Another one of the favourites is I was married to someone once who loved having everything in the right spot, and after we've got a place that's on 5 acres, and people would come here, and the kids would, you know, rearrange the decorations and all of that. So they were never in the right place. So my ex-wife would spend the first, I don't know, hour or 2 on a visit, just putting things back in the right place. What do we do there if you're that way inclined? What do you do? Okay, you'll take these bookings, and I think you'll get extra money, but what else do we do? I think, Felicity, you've got some thoughts there. Jeff?
Yeah, I think, you know, if I look at our place, and for those who don't know, I have a 3-story stone house in regional Victoria. We built it back in 2008, so it's been on short stay since then. The house for the children and how it's set up has developed as my own children have grown. So when we built the house, my 2 oldest were 3 and 5. As we've gone through the years, you know, there's a football table in the basement area. There's now a kids chill out area with their own TV, their own couches, their own fireplaces, where if they really want to sleep in their sleeping bags, they can. It's then developed into, you know, as we went through and the kids got older, that was when we introduced Wi-Fi. Because teenagers just absolutely kill the mood with their complaining all day about no Wi-Fi. It then went into its stage where it now caters for older kids as well. There's a box that we put out if kids are coming, no matter what age they are. It's got footballs and soccer balls. It's got books. And that stuff all gets packed away, so that if it's a group of adults that are staying, it doesn't come out. But if it's a family, it does come out. But I think also the thing I would say, Mark, is I get your former partner's approach. I hate it when guests rearrange things. But here's the simple heads up. Do not put anything out if you're afraid that it's going to get stolen by a kid or broken. Because it happens all the time.
Yep.
And here's the reality. If a kid breaks, you really can't claim it on air cover. I mean, it's more effort than what it's worth for
things
the
get broken all the time, and I never ever make guests pay for those little things like that. Felicity.
I hear you, Jeff, and I've got a little story. We host a 1-bedroom cottage. That's my co-host, Aslan. We host a 1-bedroom cottage next door to our own place, and we have it set up so
you need to do the upsell at the beach. You forgot to tell the bit about being at the beach.
It's pretty close to the beach. It's an awesome location. We're very, very lucky to live where we are. We love it. But the bedroom has the option to have the bed set up as a king bed or as 2 single beds. And we have a lot of families who choose to stay with us, and they'll put the 2 kids in the 2 single beds, and the parents will sleep on the big sofa bed in the living room, and they love it. It's a great way, and it's been a great business decision for us to carry all that extra linen and extra trouble. It's worked out for us. And we do have a lot of families, and they will come back and stay with us, which is lovely. One of the other things that we talk about for families, as we know ourselves, is sometimes when you get to a new place and you're just like, oh, got to get the kids out, got to run them around. You want to know where the local playgrounds are. So in our guidebooks, we mention where the local playgrounds are and how far it takes to get there, and which is the playground with the great coffee shop, and how long that coffee shop is open for. So that's
Good info.
that's one of our key little tips as well, and many parents are very grateful for that. And the other thing we have on the bookshelf is a guide for kids and what to do in Sydney with them. So that's a well-thumbed book on the bookshelf.
You actually read my mind, and I guess we're coming towards the end of this section on kids and pets, but maybe some thoughts or some reflections. What do people find? Do guests usually stay at the house and sit in front of the fire and use all the firewood, or are they like Felicity's clients that they're going to take the car and drive 2 blocks to the park and, you know, spend most of the time that they're in Sydney or regional Victoria or Tassie? Are they going to be out there sightseeing? And what's the thoughts on that? Are people staying in your house, you know, and staying there and having their events, or they're coming there so that they can spend time at the beach?
So this is one of my little things, sort of is a problem at times, because we've got a pool, and our guests, sometimes if they've got kids, they might go out 1 or 2 days, but the rest of the time they'll hang around and use the pool if the weather's good, of course, in Tassie. But you know, and we have a swing and we have games, outdoor games and indoor games. So yeah, sometimes you get your guests who stay around, and it's I guess it's good to have things for them, but you also want to encourage them to get out. Like Felicity, we often give them a lot of info about other things they can do, and that helps to move them onto you know, visiting sites. Jeff.
Yeah, same here, Meredith. I mean, we for all of our guests, we give them, I suppose, appropriate direction as to things to do in the area. But for families in particular, we've got a whole raft of really great child-friendly restaurants that are within walking distance of the house. There's a whole lot of fun things they can do. You know, in my area, kids love climbing. We have this old water tower on the top of one of the hills surrounding the district. Great view, but you know, it's exciting to be able to climb up an old water tower, you know, go chase the wombats. I'm fortunate that I've got a natural tourist attraction at my place. It's called kangaroos, and it's not just one. I think we've got about 20 or 30 of them at the moment. So kids go out and count the kangaroos. In fact, we actually have to give, actually this is actually quite a good point on the topic of kids, and also on the topic of pets if you bring dogs. We actually have to give our guests warnings when they come to stay that kangaroos are actually wild animals. They're not domestic pets, even though they look at while they're laying around my property. And they react rather badly if you try to chase them or catch a joey or go and bark after them. And you'd be surprised how many people check in that do not realise that. They send me a picture of their child chasing a joey down the field, and all I can actually see in the picture is the father kangaroo thinking, at what stage am I going to go and kick the kid?
Yeah, I was thinking about litigation.
Yeah, with the tower, I was thinking about that with the tower. Climb the tower.
That's on council land, not my problem.
And there's hanging rock as well. I actually think Felicity was first, Sue, but did you have something you were going to say, Flick?
Look, I was just going to say, look, I think if you are open to being child friendly or pet friendly, like Sue said, you pick your hosting avatar. If you are comfortable with hosting children or animals, that's great. But if you're not,
don't do it.
Try it. It's not for you.
Energetic
and
still works. That's just a whole nother woo-woo topic you can get into. But
I think the thing we do at the moment is
No, I was going to
Sorry,
say,
so you go.
as you're going through there, like it's the same with pets, like with your animals, where the pet-friendly restaurants are, pet-friendly activity. We have in the book toads and first aid for toads, because some dogs, any dog raised in Queensland knows about toads, and you train your dogs not to go near toads. But you've got a dog travelling from interstate, toad is, and they're poisonous to dogs. We have vet information. We have pet services. It's just like you'd have a babysitting service in your welcome book. We have pets that are available. So we offer exactly what you would do for child friendly. And another quick thing too, with things going on, I've recently just started putting things in. If I happen to see something on Facebook, like I did this week, about a particular market that was on, it was a food truck market, I just screen captured it, sent it off to the guests and say, hey, did you realise this is on this week? Anything like that. Boom. It doesn't take 2 seconds. Screen capture it, you send the photo. It's done.
A roundup
They love that
of
stuff.
our most important things. Each person quickly give their most important things as to whichever category. Click.
All right, I'll take it away. I'll start that off, Meredith. My key thing is, as I was saying before, don't go into pet friendly or child friendly if this is not your bag, because you won't do it well, and you won't actually get the guests who will come and enjoy it and appreciate your property.
Same. It's got to be authentic. Have it an authentic thing, and you don't have to be everything to everybody. So if pets are specialise in that, if kids are your thing, that's great. Specialise in that. And think about the size of your home and the location of the home and the furnishing of the home.
That's great, Sue. So I agree with what both of you guys have said, and I also think that you have to enjoy it. I think hosting is not going to be for everybody, much less pets and kids. You have to enjoy it, and you have to like people having kids in your home, or like people having pets in your home, and you have to be comfortable with hosting both of those things. So you need to do everything you can to get yourself to that point. One of them being make sure that, as Jeff said, you haven't got things in that place that you're going to miss, that's going to be upsetting you, that are, you know, family heirlooms or anything like that. Be prepared for things to be damaged, and if you can cope with that, you'll be comfortable with hosting. Jeff?
I would say 2 takeaways, Meredith. Try it. I tried Pet Friendly for 3 months before I decided it wasn't for me. So I think I wouldn't just rule it out. So I think you got to give it a go. Second thing I would say is with regards to kid friendly, if you've got kids, go and stay in your property from time to time for a couple of nights. The only way you're going to find out, does your property work for a family with kids, is to road test it. And like I said, you've got to remember, kids don't always remain the same age. So over the years, we probably stay in our properties at least once a year with all 3 children. And as a result of that, that's led to what the property is today and how it caters for families.
Mark?
Well, that's probably a perfect place to round up the episode. Thanks very much for joining us, Meredith, Sue, Jeff and Felicity. Now, if anyone wants to get in touch with us, we've got packages of free help for new hosts. All you've got to do is hit the links below to pick your favourite, and Airbnb will give us some. Jeff's saying pick me, but
No, pick me.
Pick who you feel comfortable with. If you've got any questions, we've got an instant chat tool in on our web page, so you can hit up the Sue page and message Sue or correspond with any one of us. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to call. And my final thoughts is that hosting is about hospitality, and yes, hospitality can be rewarding financially, but it's also a lot of fun. You get to meet some great people and make friends along the way, and they're interesting. And as I've met all 4 of you, I've each of us has met hundreds and hundreds of guests. So there is the money, and there is the guests and the friends, and you can make someone feel very welcome. So on that happy note, thanks for joining us. Hit the messages, hit the like and subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Be in touch with us anytime. And if you've got any questions, we'd love to hear from you. This has been Mark, Felicity, Jeff, Sue, and Meredith. Thanks for joining us on Season 1, Episode 4 of the STR Street Talk Show. Thanks a million. Bye.
Mhm.